And above your brain, you have vertical monotones that distributes these sound waves in the form of color that some people with a certain eye can see when their health is at its rightful place, when their DNA is constructed tightly and not pushed apart due to genetically modified foods that you are ingesting, and not pushed apart due to the inner ear taking in low frequencies through music that breaks down the structural aspect. Now, this DNA that we speak of, that we see with the physical eye, is playing tones inside of a genetic structure. And our genes act as different instruments that are different interims or whenever we're in different environments. It is affected by the environment because the environment is also an instrument which gives off frequencies to the particles of DNA that makes up our biochemical structure. Now, where I'm going with this, I'm painting a picture so that you can see it. Because healing comes in the form of sound. Even the things that we put in our mouth is sound, but it's in physical form, it's condensed sound. When you slow down frequencies, it becomes more condensed. It's just like water, right? When the temperature drops, it slows down the sound waves of water, causing it to become ice, something that is physical, right? This is why it's cold, because the temperature has been dropped. The sound wave frequencies and the barrier within this water has dropped tremendously to a more condensed dimensional substance. There are frequencies being played with behind the scene or behind the veil of this third dimensional realm that we can't hear nor see, but it affects how we see each other. I always speak about a light that we breathe in that they call oxygen, right? Oxygen is something that is of a more harmonic substance because they can play oxygen at a certain harmony and you can breathe it in, right? When I say when they play it, they can use satellites and they can use the environment. They can even use machines to construct this oxygen that we're breathing in. They can construct it at a certain harmony that plays on the brain barrier. Our brain barrier is connected to our perception, how we think, how we see things, our capabilities and potentials to be able to get rid of toxins, which is particleized viruses inside of the body. Now, I could take and go into the laboratory and genetically modify parasitic organisms. I can process it into the foods where now when the public ingest these parasitic organisms, I can play harmonic frequencies in the air that will disrupt the oxygen. And this oxygen will communicate to these parasitic organisms in the body to create cancerous tunes inside of the body. And these cancerous tunes is parasitic infections. Now I want y'all to listen to what I'm about to say. Because infections is frequencies that is of low vibratory monotones. And these monotones, once it reaches your blood, which is manifested by this harmony of frequencies that is hitting the atoms, that is reconstructing the oxygen that you're breathing in. And this is why I say hydrogen is more important than oxygen, because hydrogen, right, is another dimensional element that is more closer to ether, which gives birth to all elements inside of the seen and the known dimensional realm that we call 3D. Your body is letting off frequencies, and these frequencies have color particles. that sits above your brain. And above your brain, you have vertical monotones that distributes these sound waves in the form of color that some people with a certain eye can see when their health is at its rightful place, when their DNA is constructed tightly and not pushed apart due to genetically modified foods that you are ingesting, and not pushed apart due to the inner ear taking in low frequencies through music that breaks down the structural aspect of your ribonucleic acids, again, which is the messenger to your DNA. So now when your ribonucleic acids is broken down due to these monatomic frequencies, right, that is reconstructed due to inharmony of an environmental structure of particles that is broken down by the atoms, right? What happens is your ear starts to reconstruct your barrier of DNA, and now your genetics is sending false information to your RNA, right? To trick your body into creating low vibratory rates of frequencies, which is diseased tones. So when you are taking herbs, when you are taking phytochemicals and things, for an example, to heal yourself, these chemicals, and you have to remember that chemicals is one of the 5 forms of energy. Even though you are taking herbs, that herb is playing a sound. It is playing a note. And that note is connected to a color. Right? So when you are taking herbs where the phytochemical and its resonance comes from a root, you are taking in a green tone. This is why green is more healthier for the biochemical structure, because the tone that it plays brings back together the structural DNA, and the DNA starts to express itself